It's that whole thing of like, are you going to have a growth mindset or are you going to have a scarcity mindset? Like, what mindset are you going to operate in today?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Creating Wealth podcast, where I, Kyle, from Kyle Curtin Real Estate, interview local top dogs in the real estate investing, wealth building, and personal finance industries. Let's build together. What's up, guys? The guest on this week's episode of the podcast is an incredibly inspiring real estate investor with an absolutely next-level mindset. In the final part of this two-part interview, we get a chance to chat about some very significant topics, including never failing and just learning, choosing either a growth or a scarcity mindset, the one thing that we are all truly looking for, and so much more. This entire interview with Gordon hits super hard, and there is a ton of super powerful advice in here. Please listen to this podcast at least twice to really grasp everything. Let's jump right into the episode.
You are learning something every single day, and you never fail. It's just a lesson. It's whether or not you actually learn that lesson. And if you don't learn that lesson that you're supposed to learn, it's going to come back around.
Yeah.
It's going to keep showing up in your life until you learn the lesson you're supposed to learn.
100%.
That's definitely something that happens as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that that we're having this conversation, actually, because when I was driving down here, I was in Tewksbury this morning. While I was in the car, I started thinking about something of this concept of like, you're either winning or you're learning, and like failure like doesn't really exist. And I started to think more and more about it, and I just kind of started zoning out and started thinking. And it's really interesting to see how like the school system and college, doesn't views failing in a bad way, right? And like, if you're going into like, starting your own business or buying real estate, like you're either winning and like, people are making money or whatever, but like things are going to go wrong. But if you look at that as a failure and like you don't take the lesson from it, yeah, I mean, it definitely could come back around again. Yeah. But if you have the intention of like, if you're either winning and like, your systems are going, wicked smooth and everything's great, and then you get knocked around a couple times, you might not be losing, but learning, and like, I don't know, like just that concept of like losing, like not really existing. And like you're either winning or you're learning how to win, like where does this losing thing like come into play, and I don't know, it's just something I started thinking about. I was going to make a Facebook post about it, actually. I'll probably do it right after this.
There you go. I like it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah. Yeah. There is losing is like one of these things that's made up in our society, right? And it's all up in our head. And we think about, there's so many of these there's like so many of these myths that like we've been told about life in general, right? Yep. And I won't even go down the rabbit hole with you, because don't worry, I can go if you really want me to. But I'm not going to do it. But I mean, we probably wouldn't. I'll do it, but we can't record it because then I'd be in trouble. We're on Zoom. And, like Google has a control of everything. And
I feel you, man.
Yeah. So but it's just like there's all these societal myths that we're told that we have to do.
Yep.
Like, man, there's so much more out there if we just allow ourselves to go. Yep. And it's just like, and there's just, we've been trained by society to like, go to school, go to college, get a good job, invest in a 401k, do this, get in your stocks. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh no.
So you want me to invest in something that I have zero control over? Like, hold on a second. Like, how does this make any sense to me? You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't have any control over my 401k plan. I don't sit on the board. I can't make decisions. Like, I'm like, why would I do that with my money? Right. And now people will always be, some people have been very successful doing it, and that's great. And good for them. But for me, that's just not how my brain works. No. And I'm like, I would rather be like, yeah, no, like, I know that if I buy this house, I know that if I put this amount of money into it, I know what I'm going to be able to sell this for at the market, and I can make money that way. Right. And it's like, I'd rather put my money into an actual tangible asset. Yep. Than put it into a stock market that I have zero control over, and that will just that could tank and I lose everything, right? If I buy a house and it tanks, it's not going to like go all the way down unless of course I got to pay the mortgage, right? I got to pay the mortgage because the bank wants their money and I got to pay the taxes. But as long as I'm paying a mortgage and I'm paying the taxes on it, that thing will come back around.
Yep.
And ideally I have someone else living in it that's paying the mortgage and the taxes for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
so that sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Surely does.
You know? so when you start learning about real estate, and then when you start realizing you can buy real estate for zero money out of your own pocket and someone else will give you the money to buy real estate, then you're like, what? And then you're talking about infinite returns and you're like, hold on, what the hell's going on, right? But there's so many people that don't even know this. And I'm like, how do you not know this? This is like, this needs to be known from everybody needs to know this.
Yep.
Right. It's like, and there's so much money that's out there and there's so many things. And it blows my mind. Like, so I'm going to tell you a quick little story here. Right. So I've had an unbelievable day today, Kyle. One of the greatest things in my life happened to me today. Okay. And so myself, a couple partners of mine, Matt Perry and Nick Olerud. You might know Nick. I don't know if you know Matt, but we've started a coaching platform, right? So we call it, it's REI. Okay. So we have REI Unleashed, which is like a free Facebook group and it's a meetup place, right? And then we have REI Ignition, which is like a Facebook group, but it's a paid subscription. And then we have another program that's called REI Accelerated that we filmed the whole thing. We have some, it's in editing and we're getting the whole thing out and we're going to roll it out and we're going to be helping people and to become whatever the hell they want to become in this world. Right. And by using real estate as the vehicle to get there. Right. Like to me, like, I don't know where I'm going to end up. But I know that real estate is going to be a vehicle that's going to get me to where I want to go. Yeah. And so, so we started doing this REI Ignition stuff. And today I had a closing with one of the guys that's in that group. And it was great because this guy's name is Jack Pinard. And
I know Jack. Actually.
You know Jack?
Yeah, he was actually, I interviewed him on the podcast a while ago. I love that guy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack's awesome. He's an awesome guy, right? So he's on our calls on Wednesdays. He's there every Wednesday. And every Wednesday we do a different type of content. And this one happened to be about comping a property. And so we ended up, so I went over how I comp a property and I did it just through Zillow. I didn't use the MLS because not everybody has MLS access, but I did it just through Zillow. Even though people hate Zillow, I think Zillow is an awesome tool. I think it's an awesome tool, right? There's so many good things about it. I can get into it later, but I don't have enough time. But like, it is like, but if you put in the right parameters inside Zillow, you can comp. Now you only want to comp things that have sold because that's the only thing you really can run a comp off, right? But he was having a hard time comping it. So he brought the property in and we comped it for him. I said, listen, the ARV on this thing is like 375 to 400. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, look at this, this, and this. I said, we got to deduct for this because the square footage is a little bit less. We need to add for this because this one actually has an extra bedroom, things like that. Right. And, it was a cute little place in Nashua, dead end street, nice little neighborhood. I know the neighborhood well. And he was comping it out at like 325. And I said, no, man, this is 375, 400. It's right now it's probably worth 425, 450 because prices are just like
ludicrous.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, all right. So he's like, all right, well, I was offering her 140. I think he said, he's like, and I said, listen, I'll buy this off of you at 180. So I said, if you get it under contract, put in whatever wholesale fee you want into, I'll pay, we'll take care of it and be done. So he's like, really? And I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. So he ended up going out. So we went off of it as a $90,000 rehab budget as well, just so you know. So we went off of it and we ended up, so he went back to her, got it under contract for 170, ended up selling me the contract for 180, like I told him I would do. And so we just had the closing today for, and he got a check for $10,000 from it. Right. And I was just like, and I was so happy for him. And I was so happy that I could help him go through that whole process, and be able to help him and guide him through and use our attorneys and help him through, there was some title issues that we had to get over. There was a couple things with like the earnest money deposit and things, some contract stuff. So I was able to help him get through that whole process. And make sure that he was able to make some money at the back end of it, and I was just like, this is awesome. It made me so happy that I was able to help him, right? And the greatest part about it too is that the person that we had, the person that sold us the house walked away with like $73,000 today in a check. And they were in foreclosure. They were going to lose the home to the bank in foreclosure because the husband is in the hospital, and she didn't know anything about the finances. She didn't even know it was in bankruptcy, anything like that. And she didn't know what to do. And so instead of losing the house, getting nothing out of it, we were able to help them out of a situation. She was able to make $73,000 today. Jack was able to get a check. I was able to get a house that we're going to turn around, reposition, make beautiful, and a new family is going to move into the damn thing. Like, that's a win-win-win-win-win situation. Everybody involved, right? This business is unbelievable. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And the best part of it is that, like, I didn't have to bring any of my own money to this whole entire deal. I have a private lender that paid the $180,000 down payment and has given me the $100,000 to do the rehab work that we need to do to it. And I'll pay them an equity position on the back end when we sell the property.
It's insane, man. Like,
I mean, why isn't everybody doing this? Like what? Why isn't everybody doing this? And again, we're not. People aren't educated enough about this stuff is actually a possibility. People are actually out here doing this stuff, right? And it's just like, yeah, like this stuff is possible. Like, this is possible. You can do this stuff. And it's another reason why I also big strong believer that people, when they first start out, some people disagree with me on this, and that's totally fine. But I know that what works for me, and that is to join up and work with somebody in your first 1 or 2 transactions, 1, 2, 3 transactions, whatever it may be, because you are going to learn so much throughout that process. It's not even about the money at that point, right? It's not even about the money. You will make a little bit of money, but it's not even about the money. It's about the education that you're going to get through that process, which is going to help you just explode afterwards. And it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. So it's really cool. It's really
I love that so much, Gordon. That's absolutely crazy, man. And
Yeah.
exactly, it's something that a lot of people like don't even know that you can do. And like, that's definitely something like, through having conversations like these, like, you want to like let people know like that this kind of stuff is possible. Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So now I just want, like, the feeling I have right now is like, I just want to help as many people as I possibly can. Like, that's all I want to do. I just want to, like, that's my purpose in this world, is to help as many people as I can. I figured it out. It's taken me 45 years to figure it out, but I figured it out. Like, okay, how many people can I help? Right. Because the more value that we can provide, to the world, the more we're going to end up being able to just explode. Right. And like, it's just, we just shine our light on the world. I always say it, shine your light on the world, be you, do your thing, believe in yourself. Great things are going to happen. Great things are going to happen.
It's crazy, man. It really is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just having that intention of like, just trying to help everybody out and like, make everybody successful and everything. And just crazy stuff starts to happen. Like, I don't know, like, you don't even like expect it. You know what I mean? Like, you just like to, help people, like make sure they're all good. Like, don't expect anything in return. And then all of a sudden, like crazy crap starts to happen. It's like, wow, okay. Now we can help more people and learn more stuff to teach more people. And like, it's the circle is like, find another industry that you can do this type of stuff.
Yeah, it's endless. It's infinite stuff, man. It's infinite. Like, look at, like, even just I'll use you as an example of what I've seen from you, right? Like, even in the short time that I've seen you grow and what you're doing, right? And like, I mean, you did an introduction. This is your 78th podcast. Like, that's pretty awesome, dude. As a 20, you said 21, almost 22, right? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm jealous of that shit right there, right? And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. If this guy's doing it, why the hell am I not doing this? Right. And that's what I'm not thinking, right. And then I'm like, but like, from you doing that, think about how many opportunities you've gotten. Like, now you're a lender, right? Now you've gotten involved with lending. Like, you can lend money to help people do stuff that I do, right? And what you do, like, now you can lend people that stuff, and you've just opened up all these other doors for yourself. And now when you have clients that you meet and you're showing them investment properties, like you have like proven concept of like, hey, I know what I'm talking about because I've done this. I'm living this right now. Like, let me help you. Let me show you how to do this, And it's just, I see you out there. You're always out there networking. You're at the networking events. You're doing what you need to do. And I love it. I love seeing you doing it because I know that's how I grew my business, like just going to networking events, meeting people, operating with integrity, doing what I say I'm going to do, right, and performing on it. And when I fail at doing what I say I'm going to do, just owning it and being like, yeah, you know what, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I screwed up. And man, when you start owning it like that, people recognize it and people get attracted to you, and then things just really start going. So
thank you so much, man. It really does mean the world. You know what I mean? And like, it's like everything started from just networking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Gordon, like I don't tell the story often, but so I've technically had my agent license for like, I have to renew it like now. So about 2 years actually.
Yep.
And I joined a company for, when I first got my license, and a lot of companies wouldn't hire me because, I'm still a full-time W-2. And plus I was just like an 18-year-old kid. They're like, oh, like you don't have a sphere of influence, whatever, yada, yada, yada. So eventually, I went with that company. It was like a chain brokerage, like just a fully retail. And like, I didn't learn anything at all from them, man, like absolutely zilch. And like, they just kind of told me, they're like, oh, well, if you bring us the clients, we'll guide you through the rest of it. I'm like, crap. I'm like, I don't even know how to tell you to get pre-approved. I'm like, like the support wasn't there. I'm like, I just joined into a pool with, who knows, maybe like 50, 70, 80, like 80 other agents in this company. And not to mention that it wasn't even close to Tewksbury. So trying to drive out there was an absolute hike, for training and whatever. And it just, I don't know, it didn't resonate, and then eventually, like, I didn't, or I found out that there was like one agent in the office that had done like one multifamily deal. And I'm like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. So basically, through like networking and finding out about Biggerpockets and talking to investors and like just shooting the breeze, and having fun talking to people, I ended up finding out about this company doing a virtual meetup called Candor Realty. And man, like everything has changed from there. Like, guys, like not to plug here, but literally, like I went from, actually, it's been like a year and a month since I've been with Candor. And like, since I've joined this company, like I've went from not even knowing how to tell somebody to get pre-approved, all the way to doing like a couple deals as an agent, learning an absolutely unreal amount, to like being a part of a meetup and like growing that and, talking to a lot of people and everything, all the way to buying my first house hack and like continuing the journey. That is friggin' crazy. And all of that happened from just, researching and talking to people. Same thing with the lending stuff, like there was the company that I joined up with, Crowd Lending. They had some events and stuff in the Seaport in Boston, just same type of thing, like networking events. And, I'd pop out there once in a while and same thing, just get to know some people, have some fun, create some relationships. And, I ended up creating a very powerful relationship that has, opened up some crazy doors, and like everything was just pursuing, something I was interested in and, getting to know people and learning their stories, and crazy stuff happens. It's absolutely unreal. And like just giving back, like everything that I'm learning, like in my opinion, like in my own head, like it's my obligation, my complete freaking like life obligation right now, where everything that I've learned, like I am so grateful for like every single conversation that I've ever had with anybody, that like it's only my obligation to learn that information, put it into use, and then teach it to others twice as much so they can come up even faster, or learn faster, than I have. And it's just one of those things, man. I'm like, all right, like, create these relationships, learn as much as you can, put it into practice, and then just teach as many freaking possible with a set of ears that can listen to this as possible. Because it's to your point, Gordon, like there is so much that's more possible out there. that like we have like no idea, and most people don't, because it's not what we're taught as a society. You know, this stuff, like thinking about it in a whole nother lens, like this is like absolutely ludicrous, you know, to like 99% of people out there, like the stuff that we're into. You know, like, oh, flip a house, like, oh no, you have to have like 200 grand, like you have to save all that, and like, you know,
so much risk, so much risk.
Yeah, exactly. And comfort, you know, like comfort itself, man, like that's like the scariest friggin' thing on planet Earth. You know, to one of your points earlier, like if things are going well, like everything's going great, like if you take your feet off the gas, everything can just crash, and like that's it, you know. And like if you get too comfortable, then your drive starts to go down, and like, you know, do less and less and whatever. And like I just think it's really interesting to regulate between like the high points of like everything's going absolutely well, you know, everything's like full cylinders, like everything's going fantastic, and kind of regulate between that high point, as well as, you know, when things are going absolutely awful and like you're feeling like a failure and like you're getting kicked around a bunch, and like just kind of finding that middle ground of like staying aware between, you know, what to do and like how to act and how to like respond from a really self-aware level when things are going absolutely crazy, as well as when things are going absolutely shit, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Because they're all gonna, there's that ebbs and flows. There's nothing you can get it. People call it the yin and the yang of life, whatever it is, right? It's been around forever. You can't stop it, right? Some people call it the ego. I call it the ego and the I am area, right? Because there's a whole thing about it, right? And it's like, the thing about it is this, is that no matter, you're going to have the downs. The question is how long you're going to let the down be there, and can you recognize when you're in that down, right? And like, how quick are you going to be able to get back up, right? Or even just get back to even keel. You don't have to get all the way back up, right? Like there's the balance of life, man. There's a balance in life. If you're screaming high at one point, you know what? You're gonna go down. You have to. It's gonna happen. It's just okay. When I'm down here, why am I down here? What am I supposed to learn right now? Right. And how am I going to get back up there? And usually when you're down in that area, it's because you're supposed to learn something, and something's, you know, it's the peaks and valleys of life. Right. And it's like when you go back, you reach this peak, and then you know what, when you try to get to that other peak, you can't just jump. You got to go down into that pit. You got to go back down into that valley, and then you got to climb all the way back up again. Like you can't go peak to peak. It doesn't work that way. It goes peak, valley, then peak. It's the only way you can do it.
It's so true, man.
Yeah. And it's hard.
It is.
It's hard, man. It's like, oh man. And that's why I don't blame a lot of people for not wanting to do it. I don't, because you know what? Sometimes I don't want to do it either. I just want to be like, oh man.
I quit.
It's like, oh no, you know, and then you're like, oh, I just want it to be easy. And then I think it's Jim Rohn that says, you know, don't wish for it to be easier. Wish for you to be better. Right. I wish for me to be better, not for it to be easy. And that's just, you got to catch yourself when you're in that down. You just got to catch yourself. Sometimes when I used to get down, I'd be down for like 6 months, you know, just down. Yeah. Now it's probably, you know, a couple of days. I can still get down in those deeps, but it's only a couple of days, and then I can bounce back and be like, okay, I'm back. I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I'm back. I'm ready to go. Dust yourself off. Get moving. You know, and it's beautiful. It's fun. It's fun, man. It really is.
Definitely.
And you know, it's funny because like even nowadays, and I had this conversation with someone that I like love and completely respect a ton. And you know, and he was like, I don't know how you're finding these deals. There's no deals available right now. There's no deals out there. I don't understand it. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I have to say no to a million deals. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like the deals are everywhere. They're everywhere. And I'm just like, I can't stop them from coming. And I'm not going to stop them from coming. Like it's that whole thing of like, are you going to have a growth mindset, or are you going to have a scarcity mindset? Like what mindset are you going to operate in today? Because if you're going to have a growth mindset, you're going to be aware things are going to start happening. Right. But if you want to contract and you want to play it safe and you want to be comfortable, then yeah, you're right. You're not going to see it.
That's the thing I love, man, is like just taking that control of, you know, how you respond to the outside environment instead of having the outside environment control you. Because I mean, like, you know, things are going to happen and everything. And like people just say like, oh, you know, like poor me and feel sorry and everything. And it's something that I feel like definitely doesn't come right away. Of like, I feel like you kind of have to like practice it like a lot.
I mean, that is what it is though. I mean, the only thing we can control is how we react to a situation. That's it, because it's going to happen. So how are we going to react to it? How are we going to, go with it? If are we cognizant of our feelings? What's making us realize, what's going on inside of us. A lot of times, and one of the things that I've learned about myself is that a lot when I get angry or something, and at 9 times out of 10, what I'm angry about isn't actually what I think I'm angry about. Right? There's usually something a lot deeper that's actually bothering me than what I'm actually lashing out at or angry about. And so, it's becoming aware of your feelings, where everything's coming from, and everything. And once we become aware of all that stuff, then we really, really start becoming powerful.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing.
It really is powerful, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So Gordon, I do want to ask you, my friend. So what does wealth mean to you?
What does wealth mean?
Yeah. How do you define wealth, rather?
I define wealth as, wealth to me is love. That's what wealth is.
Yeah.
So like there's really only one thing that all of us are really truly looking for in this world, and that is to be loved. That's it. Yeah. Like the material stuff that we're looking for, that we think is going to fill some void for us, right? Like money, wealth, it provides a security, sure, no doubt. But really, what you're looking for is you're looking for love. It's really what you're looking for. And that's what wealth is to me, without a doubt.
I love that, man. Like that's really crazy, I mean, because like, especially from like just being like super self-aware and everything of like, oh, well, like, why am I trying to do the things that I'm trying to do? And like, why am I trying to shoot for this house or like get a better job or, leave my job? Like, why is it? And like, if you keep boiling it down. So there's something that, I'm sure you've probably heard it from one point or another. And I got it from this book by, what's his name? I can see the guy's face, but I don't know. I forget. I'll put it down below, guys. But basically, it's this concept of like to find your why, like going down like 7 levels. It's called like the 7 levels of something. And it's basically starting like, oh, like, why did you get up today? And then you can only answer that question with like, I got up today because. And then like, you say like, oh, I want to work on my real estate stuff or whatever. Oh, well, why do you want to work on your real estate stuff? Right. I want to work on that because. And then like you kind of like keep looping the questions together. Right. And eventually, the more you go, if you do it right, like that gets pretty deep, and like eventually, like I know for me, it's like everything that I want to do is because of family, for like certain reasons and whatever. But the more that you dig deep, the more it starts to, at least, how it's been for me, the deeper that you go, the more about like core values and things like love and family and relationships, like the deeper it starts to be, so like you actually want to do the things that you want to do and just use everything that you're trying to do as the vehicle to get to that point. And it's crazy because it gets kind of simple. Exactly. Like everybody
it's
just wants
so
to be
simple
loved. Yep.
It's so simple, but we love to overcomplicate everything.
Mm-hmm.
We love to overcomplicate everything. You're right. And like you just said, your thing is because of family. Mm-hmm. What is family?
Exactly. So like
family's love, right? Yep. Family is love.
Mm-hmm.
Because you love being around them, because you love the way that they make you feel, because it's just there's vibration, there's energy, they make you feel loved. That's why you want to that's what family's all about for you. Right? Like
exactly.
It's all love, dude. I'm telling you. It all comes
the
back
more
to
you boil it down.
Boil it right down. That's it.
Yep.
All it comes down to. It's an interesting thing. Some people love money, right? But they really don't love money. They think that money's going to give them love.
Yeah.
And
I love that so much, man. I honestly, I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, but the more that you boil down, like a lot of the things that you're actually thinking about, like, it gets simple. And it's unbelievable like how simple it is, but like why a lot of people aren't able to get to that point yet, and like why it takes
because we can't, because our ego tries to build up blockages and build up shields around us, right? Because it thinks it's protecting us. It thinks it's trying to protect us from these outside forces, right? Like we're told our whole entire life, like not to talk to strangers, right? Aren't we? Like, don't go do that. Or like in school, you're not supposed to ask for help. You're cheating if you ask for help from someone. But hold on a second. Like, all I do is ask for help in the real world. Like, it's like, who can help me right now? It's not how, right? Who, but how, who, not how, whatever that, right? It's like, and we're taught like these whole other things, like separate, everything's separate. We gotta be separate from this. We gotta be separate from that. We gotta do it all ourselves, all this stuff, right? And it's like, no, we don't.
We're a big one, man.
Together. We can do it all together. Like, and that's the whole thing. And it's like, everybody's going after one thing, man. It's love. And we really try to get in our own heads, and we overthink about everything we overthink. And a lot of stuff is like deep rooted stuff. That's like generational stuff that gets passed down to us. And it's a lot of dirty things that have to be dealt with. It hurts.
100%.
Yeah.
Even, to your point of like, everybody telling you like, oh, like don't talk about how much money you make and like wages and everything. And like the amount that we talk about money, man, like, like it's just one of those things. It's like, oh, like, that's really uncomfortable, or like, especially in a job, like, oh, I'm not going to tell you how much, because, I'll get mad, or you will, whatever,
Right.
But like the more that you start to have those conversations, like what we're taught, exactly to your point, like what we're taught in school of like, oh, like if you get like a 40 on a test or something, like, oh, you're an idiot, like you're a failure, like, like you're like you're just not doing good, like it's all your fault. But if you go out to the real world and you lose a little bit of money on something, or like, if you're, if like a flip doesn't go to plan, or like an unexpected expense, or whatever the problem is, like, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that like, there's something that happened that like hasn't been able to be systematized yet, or like you haven't learned that yet. And like, I don't know, I think the dynamic is extremely interesting between the things that society teaches us and like kind of like the mold, I guess you could say, that we're supposed to go into, versus what happens when you start to break away and the world that you start to discover.
It's and then that's a whole different conversation too. Like when you like, when when you try to break away from what the norms, right? And like, oh, dude, forget it. You're crazy. You're nuts. Like, what are you doing that for? Like, and then like people start talking down about you, like you're crazy, and they want to pull you back in. Like they want to pull you back in because they want you to stay with them, right? They don't want to lose you. They feel like you're going to go off and they're going to lose you, right? Because they don't want to lose your love. Again, there's the love thing, right? Yeah. So like they're all like it's just crazy. And the people that are even closest to you will be your harshest critics and will give you the hardest time. Like even your friends and family, even your parents, right? Like they will be your harshest critics and they won't even understand you.
Yep.
Trust me, I've dealt with it, right? And it's like, yeah, I get it, but like I got to go do this because I know this is what I need to do, right? And then all of a sudden they come back around once they realize that you can actually do it, right? But yeah, it's hard. You have to deal with a lot of naysayers, and you have to really work on yourself because you're going to be getting you're going to get a lot of hate from the people that are really close to you, and they're going to want to say, don't do that, that's risky, stay here, this is the world that we live in. Who do you think you are? Oh my God, you think you're this great wonderful person, like what do you think? No, that's not how we do it that way. That's for the other people over here. That's not for our kind, right? It's like, exactly. What are you talking about, right? So it's very interesting, and just trying to, and I look at it as like, yeah, I'm building a new generation for my family, like for my family. That's going forward. What I'm learning is going to be passed on to my son, and then it's going to be passed on to his family, and it's going to change a whole entire generation. It's going to change the whole entire pattern.
Yep.
It's going to be great. I love it.
I totally agree with you, man. And like, I definitely feel you about, kind of having those people that are very, very close to you, which this is something we could also talk about for a very long time. But absolutely. like having those people that are very close to you and like, you know, telling those kind, like absolutely like loving those people, whether it's a parent, like a best friend, or like, you know, significant other, like what have you, and telling them about this kind of stuff, man. As much as like you have a really, really good relationship with that person and like absolutely love them, they
Mhm.
might like discourage the hell out of you because this isn't normal stuff, you know, and like it might not necessarily be out of a place
Yeah.
of negativity of like, oh, you know, like, you know, like keep you with me, like, you know, like if you go on to better things, like, you know, whatever. But it might be out of a place of like scarcity. Like, oh, like you could lose like $40,000 and like, you know, all this stuff and all this will go wrong and tenants and toilets and, you know, all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the issue
They're
is
just trying to protect you.
exactly. But the thing is
Yeah.
like if you listen to that advice, you're not going to move, you
Yeah.
know, and like I definitely feel you, Gordon. I've seen
Yeah.
that one personally, and it's been something very interesting to talk about. And this specific topic is something that I try to popularize as much as I can because I feel like
Yeah.
this happens a lot more than what people talk about. And like
Mm.
that, I feel like that can totally cripple people because like you have this dynamic of, you know, you have all this crazy stuff that you're trying to do, and like you have to do all these things, and like, you know, you have your vision set and like you're ready to go, but
Mhm.
you're also getting this influence from the people that care a lot about you that don't
Mhm.
want to see you get hurt or whatever. And
Mm.
you know, like you don't want to like upset them or like cut a relationship, but like you also want to do these really big things and everything. And it's a really weird dynamic of, you know, trying to like keep those people happy and like respect their opinion and everything, but also being able to like do your own thing and take your own risk, you know, without
Mhm.
making like attention or anything. And like it's something that can definitely get a little ugly. And
Yeah.
it's just it's a very, very interesting conversation that, exactly to your point, like I'm not going to dig into it. At some point I'll dig into it with you at another time, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's something that I've kind of seen personally, you know, and
Yeah.
it's a conversation that I want to popularize because I feel like a lot of people have this and like don't want to talk about it because it's a very tough conversation, you know, trying to appease like
It is.
you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, it is. No, it is. It's so I find it now to have an easy. I find every conversation to have is easy nowadays, though. Like because I look at it like this. Like all I can do is like say the truth of
Yep.
what of how I'm feeling, right? Like and if someone disagrees with me, that's cool. I don't mind. Like I could be wrong.
Whatever.
Like I also could be wrong a million times. I'm wrong all the time. Like it's okay. I give
Yeah.
myself to be permission to fail and to be wrong all the time. But what I'm going to do is I am going to have the hard conversations. Like, and that's a lost thing in today's world, right? We're not allowed
It
to
is.
talk about things, right? And
Yep.
it's like the majority of the people that we know, honestly, we all kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
And we all kind of all want the same thing. We just might have a different way of getting there,
Yeah.
right? And it's like it's okay, like that, and that's fine. But like, why can't we all just have conversations with each other, and especially with the people that are closest to us and the ones that we love the most, right? Like you know, and those are actually the hardest people to have those conversations with,
Yeah.
right? Because you want to have their approval and you want to be good with them, right? And like
You want to
it's
be
hard.
loved by them.
Sometimes it can be hard. Yeah, you want to be loved, man. Of course, there you go,
Yep.
right? You want to be loved by him. But the thing is that the thing is when you have those hard conversations, you actually grow a deeper bond and you actually grow there's more love to be shared between you two because there's a better understanding of everything.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like like me and my wife, I've been married together. I've been with my wife for 21 years now. I think it's 21. Babe, if you're watching this, I think it's 21, right? Yeah, it's 21. 22 this year, I think. 2000, yeah, okay. But the hardest part would be like the conversations that we have now with each other after like in the past 3 years are just completely different. And like
Yeah.
we know each other better than we ever have before. Right. And it's because we just started having really hard conversations
Yeah.
about everything. And it's only like made everything better in our world. And
Yeah.
she completely loves and trusts me, and I completely love and trust her. And it's just like it's unbelievable. It's a
Yeah.
great thing to have. And once you have that, it's just like you're all set.
It's
You're on
all over.
fire.
Yeah.
You know,
Hell yeah.
it's just it's all over, man.
Yeah.
It's all over. It's a great thing, and like, I mean, my wife stuck by my side back in 2009, 2010, when like I lost everything, right? And I wasn't providing for my family, right? And it hurt. It was hard. And I mean, you want to know you have a good woman, go through something like that, and then and they still stand by you, and they still believe in you, and they still, that stuff's just, you can never take that away. You can never take that away. Yeah, it's just crazy stuff, man. It's awesome.
So go
I
ahead.
hope we find someone like that one day.
Someday.
Yeah, you'll find someone. Don't worry.
So I got one more question for you, my friend. And we talked about it quite a bit earlier, but so the question is, do you read? And
Oh my God.
what is your favorite business, investing, or real estate book that you would recommend to anyone? I know there's probably a million of them because there is for me.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to say the best self-help book. So I mean, the book that most people always say, and that is a game changer for a lot of people, is Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So that one's that's a game changer. There's so many of them, but the best business, I'll categorize this book, encapsulates everything that you really need to know. The best self-help book out there is Think and Grow Rich, without a doubt. If you implement Think and Grow Rich, you can implement it in any aspect, in any business, anything you do. It dominates. It's dominant. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is just gold. It's pure gold.
It really is, man. That book has definitely played a huge impact on me, and the principles in there are absolutely crazy.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. I listen to the audiobook all the time. I read the book itself, at least once a year. And it's one of those things. There's a couple different books another one that I would really recommend for people also is it's called The Go-Giver. You ever read The Go-Giver?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah. Yep.
The Go-Giver is it's a small little book. It wouldn't take much time to read it all, but that's another great book about really just, it's in the title, right? Go-Giver. Like, it's just be a giver, add value.
Period.
And the world it just comes on. It's a great thing. But yeah, that would be, there's a ton of, real estate investment books and all that stuff too. A lot of them have just bored me to death nowadays because they're just like, a lot of repeating itself. But yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad was a book that was, the whole Rich Dad series, really. Cash Flow Quadrant is another one that's a great one out of that series. But yeah,
Tax-free wealth.
Tax-free wealth, and then there's ABCs of real estate investing. There's a bunch of them that they have there. But yeah, that's Think and Grow Rich is by far in my opinion, one of the best one out there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on here, Gordon. Literally, man, we could keep talking for hours and hours.
Yeah, I hear you. We could. We'll do it next time. I'll see you at a meetup probably next week sometime. Anyway, we'll just keep talking.
Probably.
All good.
Definitely. So where on social media and stuff can you be found, my man?
Yeah, so I'm Gordon _Thornton 24 on IG, right? So GORDON _Thornton THORNTON 24, and then Facebook, regular Gordon Thornton. You can find me on there. I try to be as active on there as I can. Some days are better than others. I'm trying to be better at it all, but yeah, I love it. I love social media. I really do. Some people hate it. I love it. Yeah. I think it's a great way. I've been able to connect with so many people through it. I've been able to meet so many people through it. I've gotten so much business through it, just deals, it's just amazing, right? People start seeing what you're doing out there on social media, and it's just all of a sudden things just start snowballing. I just started a YouTube channel, so I'd love it if anybody wants to subscribe, please do, because I think I have 3 subscribers right now, so please go.
Not for long, Gordon.
But so my company's name is 603 Properties, right? 603 Properties. We just kind of started putting up some videos of before and after videos of the houses that we've been turning around. Yeah. And then we're going to be putting out a bunch more content on there. I'm really starting to realize that there's a need to help people out. I really want to help people understand the rehab process better, understand what to look for inside a home, things that just come natural to me that I feel are just really elementary. Is kind of like some people look at it as like that's college level stuff, right? And I always forget, like, oh yeah, okay, I was also at that point at one point as well. So I'm trying to really go back to the basics and try and help as many people as I can about it, and so that they can feel confident. A lot of times people have a hard time with like the repair, the after repair value, and also the rehab budget. And I want to help people, as many people as I can, be comfortable in knowing how to figure out those numbers so they can feel confident when they're talking with sellers, and present the proper offer with them, and whether they're going to buy it themselves or wholesale it to a different person or something like that, so that they're dialed in. So that's really where I'm heading with a lot of stuff right now.
I love that so much, man. I saw your the video with Anwar Arenas that you did on Facebook. Yeah. I love that so much, man. I'm so excited like to see that channel. I'm gonna subscribe right after we get off the call.
Yeah, man, absolutely. That'd be awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Anwar's a great guy. I love Anwar. You should have him on. Have you had him on yet?
I have.
Yeah. Anwar's good. I like Anwar. He's great. It's funny because Anwar, actually, I used to work with Anwar at DirecTV. Remember how earlier I said
really?
that?
Oh, yeah, crap, man. No way.
Anwar, I was Anwar's supervisor for a little while at DirecTV. It's really funny. Yeah. It's a small world, and now we're both out here just having fun in the real estate game. So it's pretty cool.
It's wicked cool. Small world, man. Holy crap.
It's a lot of fun.
But cool. Yeah, no, I'll drop everything down below, guys. Go subscribe to Thornton. Reach out to him. Thank you so much for coming on here, man. This was such an honor to have you on.
Pleasure, man. It was awesome talking with you. I look forward to doing it again, man.
Of course. I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you so much. All right, guys. That concludes our Creating Wealth podcast episode for today. I want to thank every single person that has listened this far. It really means a lot to know that people can learn from me and with me as we build wealth together. Hopefully, you can take home at least one thing from this podcast that will improve your life just a little bit. If you could, please check me out on social. That's at Kyle Curtin Real Estate on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm on Biggerpockets. Until next time, let's build together.